Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing a classic Patek Philippe officer's watch complication, originally launched back in 1997 at Baselworld. This is the Patek Philippe 5059J-001 Retrograde Perpetual calendar, 36 millimeters in the boldest of golds and the oldest of golds, yellow. It's also 13.3 millimeters thick and 44.6 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, with a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see it's very traditionally sized. Just like a 36 millimeter Datejust, it has a lot of presence, but not a lot of footprint. You can wear it successfully on a wrist as small as 13 centimeters circumference, and thanks to the pocket watch inspired case and early 20th century inspired lugs, it has more of a presence to the eye, even as its physical footprint is relatively slight. It's low enough and sloped enough with its domed bezel that it'll slide underneath any dress cuff, and I do consider this to be a high-end unisex option. Taking a quick look at the hardware and the software, you can see we are using a Patek Philippe strap, brand new, calfskin on the bottom, black alligator leather on the top, a large rectangular scale, alligator leather with a semi-gloss finish, a monotone stitch, and then it is sheer cut, showing you the layers of leather internally. Because this is an officer's watch, it is designed to evoke the look of early 20th century wristwatches that were converted for use in trench warfare during World War I. Those converted pocket watches became the first mass-produced wristwatches, but because they were produced en masse by jury rigging, they retained many of the design characteristics of the pocket watches from which they originated. That means you have the hinged hunter case back on many of those old trench-style officers' watches. You have the onion-style crown. You have lugs that were welded directly onto the case, and straps fitted with screws and bars, and a wonderful rounded, rotund pocket watch-style case profile. All of that we have here in the 5059, and Patek has a long and successful history of using officer-style watches in its catalog. Now you can see the lugs truly are welded on, not jury-rigged in the fashion of vintage officers' watches, but in the traditional method of constructing a luxury watch case. You can see that they're welded, inserted into slots in the profile of the case, welded on, and then all evidence of the weld is removed to create these sharp breaks between lug and case band. This is a heavily handmade case. Now the case back also pops open. It has a minimalist hinge, revealing the movement, which is caliber 315. You can see the interior features the serial number of the watch, hallmarks, the maker's mark. You can see 121 was the sign of the guild that produced this case, and then 5059 is the reference. The timepiece includes a solid gold case back and a sapphire display back, the best of both worlds. You don't get shorted any gold, and you have the ability to look at the movement. The dial is matte white, and it is an aperture-style perpetual calendar. You have your day, your leap year phase, and your month, a moon phase with an adjustment interval of 122 years, so you adjust it once every 122 years. Outboard, we have a set of concentric tracks for the seconds, the minutes, the hours, and then inboard there is a retrograde scale for the date. So it's a perpetual calendar that need not be reset in any way, provided it keeps running until the year 2100. And Patek Philippe uses blackened hands in white gold to tell you the time. You can even see, if you look carefully, that the minute hand and the second hand tips have been manually rolled on miniature rolling pins so that they slide under the arced crystal, and there's no distortion, so they look perfectly straight when they're viewed from the front. Now underneath the case back, I mentioned caliber 315. It is a automatic winding, 45-hour power reserve, free sprung, Geneva hallmark caliber, using Patek Philippe's age-old Gyromax free-sprung regulator adjusted in a chronometer-style 5 positions. It beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and that's the primary difference between the 315 and the later 324. It is the beat rate. This is 21.6 versus the later 28.8. They both keep excellent time. The Poinçon de Genève went away after mid-2009, so seeing the old Geneva stamp on this movement is traditional and nostalgic. The 31 jewel movement is beautifully finished. It features Engine turning on the center of the rotor as well as the base plate. There is mirrored anglage, which you can see on the edge of the bridges. Screw heads are black polished with chamfered slots and circumference. We have linear Cote de Genève across the bridges and circular Cote de Genève across the rotor, and then satination on the wheels of the train. It is a beautifully traditional movement in every regard and quite accurate. The timepiece, 30 meters water resistant, but it's not really an aquatic watch. That is for splash or inadvertent rain only. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.